My wife asked to cheat on me as an anniversary present. I left for good. Only once did she insist. I nodded. I packed my bags quietly and left a single envelope on the bed. Before continuing the story, I ask you for a second to give a like to the video. It doesn't bother you at all and it helps me a lot. Let's continue. The next morning, his lawyer called me 47 times. I, a 32-year-old man, still can't believe I'm writing this. 2 weeks ago was supposed to be our 5th wedding anniversary. Instead, I'm in a hotel room rebuilding what's left of my life. Rochelle, a 31-year-old woman, and I met in college. We weren't the crazy, passionate couple, more like best friends who fell in love, stable, comfortable, with enough spark to keep things interesting. At least, that's what I thought. The night before our anniversary, we were having dinner at home. He had made his favorite pasta and opened a nice bottle of wine. I had been saving for months to surprise her with a weekend trip to a mountain resort, wrapped in an envelope that I planned to give her the next morning. So, she said, swirling her wine, I've been thinking about what I want for our anniversary. I smiled. Yes, well, I may already have something planned. She leaned forward. I want to sleep with someone else, just once. I thought he was joking, even kidding me, but his face was completely serious. You're not joking? I said. No, look, it's something I've been thinking about. We've only been with each other, and I just want to know what it's like. Just once. I put the fork down. You want to cheat on me as an anniversary present? It's not cheating if you know, he said as if it were the most reasonable thing in the world. Just one night, one experience, then we go back to normal. With who? I asked. With someone you know. Buffalo. That guy from work, Marcos. We've been talking. They've been talking about sleeping together. It made me sick to my stomach. Not exactly, but there's chemistry. I've been honest with him about being married. That made it better. Or for me, player, okay? Oh, I wouldn't go behind your back. That's why I'm asking you. I sat there trying to process it. 5 years of marriage, and this is what you want to celebrate? I know it's a lot, she said, reaching out for my hand. I pushed her aside, but I've read about couples trying this. It can strengthen relationships. You want me to stay home while you sleep with that guy? You could do the same if you wanted to, offered as if you were being generous. Find someone for one night. I just looked at her. That's not what I want at all. Just think about it, she said. It's just sex. It doesn't mean anything, and I'd come back to you later. Millie Bond, I need to get some fresh air. I walked around the neighborhood for an hour, my mind racing at 1,000 an hour. When I returned, she was waiting on the couch. I thought about it, I said, and I can't do it. If that's what you need, maybe we want different things. She looked disappointed. You're overreacting. It's just one time. I'm telling you first instead of cheating behind your back. That doesn't count for something. The problem is that you want to do it at all. Then that didn't ask. That didn't. He sighed dramatically. Okay, but I think he's being controlling. It's my body. I went to sleep in the guest room that night, staring at the ceiling until dawn. In the morning I knew what I had to do. While she showered, I quietly packed 2 suitcases with my essentials. I took the anniversary envelope and left it on the bed. Inside was the resort reservation and a note that read, "The gift is yours. Go with whoever you want." I left with my bags. I called a friend and slept on his couch. I turned my phone off for the day. When I finally turned it on the next morning, I had 47 missed calls. Not from Rachel, but from her brother Kevin, who is a lawyer, plus a dozen text messages accusing me of abandonment. Threatening to take everything away from me, claiming I had been dating my ex, trying to make me interesting, that I had no right to just walk away. That was 2 weeks ago. I am now staying in an extended stay hotel. Rachel has flipped out, claiming that I psychologically mistreated her by leaving, telling all our friends that I'm controlling for not letting her explore her sexuality. Meanwhile, she already updated her relationship status to "is complicated" and has tagged this Mark guy in 3 separate posts. I've already spoken to my own lawyer. Turns out you can't claim abandonment after 24 hours because your husband won't let you be unfaithful. But this is going to get ugly. Update 1 week later. A lot has happened this week. Kevin, Rachel's brother, showed up at my work, storming the office demanding to talk to me seriously. My team leader had to threaten to call security to get him to leave. That night, Rachel texted me. "He's being ridiculous. Just come home so we can talk about this like adults." I did not respond. The next day, I received screenshots from a mutual friend. Bratcher goes around saying I suddenly had a mental breakdown and left her with all the bills. Completely untrue, our finances are separate except for a joint household expense account, to which I continue to contribute. Then came the escalation. I came home from work to find Rachel sitting in the hotel lobby. "You can't just disappear from your wife's life like that," she said loud enough for the receptionist to hear. "I'm not disappearing. I'm separating from you after you asked me to let you sleep with another man as an anniversary present." Against my better judgment, I agreed to talk to her in the hotel restaurant. Big mistake. Marcos was just one example, she claimed. I didn't want him specifically. I just wanted an experience. With someone you specifically mentioned by name. Someone you've been talking to. He sighed. "Look, I've been talking to my therapist about this. Since you've had a therapist for a few months now, she says it's healthy to acknowledge desires instead of repressing them." She rolled her eyes when I mentioned infidelity. "Stop calling it infidelity. It's ethical non-monogamy. Something you brought up to me after 5 years of monogamous marriage." "People evolve," he said. "I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago. Avi Mare." Then she began to cry. They weren't silent tears, but loud, public sobs. People looked at us. "How could he be so cold?" she asked between sobs. "I am your wife." I just sat there watching her act, because that's what it was, that's what it looked like. "If you leave now, don't bother coming back," he shouted as I walked away. The next day, Kevin claimed that he had caused Rachel extreme emotional and suggested a settlement in which he would pay for 6 months of her therapy, plus compensation for moral damages. Then things got strange. Rachel's parents called saying that Rachel had told them that I had been emotional for months and had rejected all her attempts to save our marriage. Her mother went so far as to say, "We know about the affair you had last year, but we believe in forgiveness." What an affair! I was speechless. I have never been unfaithful to Rachel, not once. Never. "Mrs. Davis, I have no idea what you're talking about. Rachel showed us the messages from your meeting with that girl at the conference. I haven't even been to a conference without Rachel. My lawyer says we need to act fast on the divorce suit and get ahead of her accusations. I have started documenting everything and have requested my location information to prove that I have never been near that imaginary conference." Update 2 weeks later. I returned to our apartment to pick up some more of my stuff. When I opened the door, I found that half the furniture was gone. I had left a note, "I'm only taking what's mine." While I was taking pictures, Marcos came in with a wheelbarrow, clearly to take more stuff. "Rachel said no one would be here," he said, looking uncomfortable. "I bet there is," he replies. "But this is still legally my residence too, and you have to go." He had the nerve to say, "Rachel said you abandoned the place. So technically, leave now, or I'm calling the police for breaking and entering." She left, but not before saying, "She told me you guys were already separated when we started talking. Just so you know, the next bombshell came from Rachel's best friend, Lean. We met for coffee and what she told me stunned me. Ratza has been dating Marcos for at least 3 months now," she said. "She told me the two of you had an open marriage agreement." 3 months. He even showed me text messages from you, supposedly agreeing to the agreement. Jenny continued. But the messages seemed weird, it wasn't your way of talking. When I questioned her, she became defensive. It turned out that Rachel had been telling different stories to different people. To some, I was controlling. To others, I was unfaithful. To her coworkers, we had her open marriage. Pure lies. Irene showed screenshots of Rachel's conversations with mutual friends, where Rachel had been planning her exit strategy, figuring out what she could take and how to make me look like the bad guy. With this information, my lawyer filed for divorce, alleging adultery with evidence provided by Lean. Rachel showed up at my parents' house during Sunday dinner and made a tearful scene about how worried she was about my mental state. My mother called me in a panic. It took me an hour to explain to her what was really going on. The latest development, Rachel now claims that we had a verbal agreement to open our marriage, and that my sudden refusal constitutes psychological abuse. Her brother has been contacting my friends, asking for proof of my controlling behavior. A friend sent Kevin screenshots of Rachel's Instagram stories, where she appears with Mark in an affectionate attitude, with captions like, "Sometimes the right person comes along at the wrong time to pads with no regrets." Kevin's response, "That doesn't prove anything. They're just my ghost." Then my lawyer received a settlement proposal from Kevin. They want the apartment, half of my savings, including my premarital investments, and alimony because Rachel sacrificed job opportunities to support my career. Rachel is a marketing manager and makes only $10,000 less than I do. There was no sacrifice of opportunities. My lawyer drafted a counterproposal. Rachel gets to keep what she brought to the marriage. I keep what I bring to the marriage. We split the community property 50-50. And she admits the affair in writing to avoid a divorce on grounds of adultery on public record. Her parents called back. Apparently, Rachel finally confessed to them that she had been dating Mark before our separation. They apologized for believing her lies. Final update, 1 month later. It's been exactly 1 month since Rachel asked me for that anniversary gift, and I think this will be my last update. Rachel and Kevin finally responded to our counteroffer after my attorney mentioned that we were willing to subpoena Chel's phone records and subpoena Mark to testify. Suddenly, they became reasonable. We came to an agreement, 50-50 equitable division of the assets acquired during the marriage, with no alimony. With Serval Mission versions prematrimonials. Rachel gets the apartment. I keep my car. We each take care of our own debts. The most satisfying part, Rachel had to sign a document acknowledging her extramarital affair as part of the agreement. Kevin fought tooth and nail against this clause, but my lawyer stood firm. 2 days after signing, Rachel texted me. "Happy now, you've ruined my reputation for your ego." I didn't respond. Now, the social consequences. Rachel's fantasy with Marcos made a spectacular impression. According to mutual friends, he broke up with her last week. Apparently, he wasn't looking for anything serious and freaked out when Rachel started talking about moving in together. Since then, Rachel has been unleashed on social media, vague posts about toxic men and knowing your worth. Her latest post, "Sometimes the universe does you a favor by cutting certain people out of your life. Pads going up level pad new chapter spelling mistake in chapter only adds to the embarrassment. Work has been awkward. My boss pulled me aside to ask if I was okay and mentioned that Rachel had been saying I had severe anger issues. Fortunately, anyone who has worked with me knows that's absurd. I have moved into my new place and bought new furniture. New life, new start. Last night I had dinner with her parents. Her father said, "We didn't raise her to behave like this." Then her mother revealed that Rachel had a history of infidelity in previous relationships. She had problems with commitment before, her mother admitted. We hoped marriage would have helped her mature and overcome that. It would have been nice to know before he asked her to marry him, but whatever. The divorce will be finalized in about 2 months. My lawyer says it's one of the cleanest breakups he's seen. Despite the initial drama. I joined a climbing gym, Have reconnected with old friends and even started dating again. No pressure, nothing serious. Last week I found the envelope with the original anniversary gift while unpacking. The resort reservation had expired. I threw it away without remorse. I still have moments of anger, not over the fact that Rachel wanted to sleep with someone else, but over the elaborate web of lies that Gou. The way he tries to manipulate me and turn my friends against me. The sheer arrogance of thinking she deserved both me and her lover. But most of all, I am grateful. Grateful that he showed his true colors before we had children. Grateful that I found out in time and not years later. Grateful that I came out of this with my dignity intact. Sometimes, the best response to chaos is simple. Pack your bags, leave a note and start over. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the next stories.